Hi everyone, I'm Susan Farrell. I grew up in the New Glasgow Music Festival. My teachers were Leslie Dunn, Monica Punky, and Wayne Rogers, and I was in the honor choir growing up. I loved it, and the Bonnet Singers. And now I live in Edmonton where I do choir full-time as a job, and I have a few choirs. So I do the Braille Tone Music Society, so I have 2 choirs for people with special needs. The Braille Tones for adults and semitones for kids. I also do the Edmonton Children's Choir, the choir at St. Paul's United Church, and I'm the assistant director for Oran of the Kokopelli Choir Association. I also had just finished adjudicating all over Alberta for choirs, and it's been a lot of fun this year. It made me think of you folks back in New Glasgow and how I got my start at the New Glasgow Music Festival. So happy 80th anniversary. Hope it's a wonderful gala concert.
Hi, this is Laura McLean. I'm currently sitting in my dressing room at Theatre Calgary, where I'm performing in The Secret Garden. I've been living and working as a freelance singer and teacher in Calgary for the last 4.5 years. Growing up, the New Glasgow Music Festival was one of the highlights of my year and gave me some of my earliest performing experiences. And some of my wonderful teachers were Monica Punky, Donna Hargreaves, David Poss, and Al Sutherland. So happy 80th anniversary to the festival.
Hi, my name is Kyle DeCoste, and I'm a PhD student in ethnomusicology at Columbia University. Though I now live in New York, I grew up in New Glasgow and moved away almost a decade ago now. My first kind of remembered experiences growing up in Glasgow with music would be through my dad's guitar playing, and then records by like Stan Rogers, the Rankin Family, and that kind of thing. I eventually became a vocalist and trumpet player and acquired my first formal instruction in music through Monica Punky of the Pictou District Honor Choir, and then also through Steve Hartland at New Glasgow Junior High, and Janice and Andrew Alcorn at North Nova. The music festival provided me with a starting place to critically think about music, and I often reflect on those beginning experiences in music and the ways they've kind of shaped my thinking about how people use sound in a multitude of ways in their daily lives. As an ethnomusicologist, I write about music and its relation to and its existence as politics and culture. So I'm kind of thinking critically about the way that people use sound. I personally have written mostly about popular music and gender, and have worked with a variety of brass band musicians in New Orleans on writing a few articles, but then also on a book project that will hopefully be coming out in the next couple of years. Though I haven't sung in a choir in a while, and I only pick up my trumpet occasionally, the New Glasgow Music Festival was really formative in my growth as someone who thinks and writes about music. On a side note, overcoming stage fright has certainly served me well when I give talks on my research. So anyway, I just wanted to wish congratulations to the Music Festival for 80 years of encouraging music making and performance. And to all the musicians performing at the Music Festival, I wish you nothing but enjoyment in the music that you play. Thanks so much. Take care.
Hi, my name is Sarah Svensson, and I'm a concert organist. I have been fortunate enough so far in my career to do some really exciting things, like play at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, England, and record for the CBC, and travel the world and go to really crazy, exciting, interesting schools. And I do view that to be in large part because of my initial experiences growing up in the New Glasgow music scene and going through the New Glasgow Music Festival. I participated in the festival for approximately 10 years or so. I did all of the classes. I played a pile of different instruments, got to know a lot of people. I'm still really good friends with Virginia Georgalis, who won the Junior Cup the same year I won the Rose Bowl, and we've bumped into each other at universities, and we still talk, and it's one of those things where you make these friends and they don't go away, and you work with these teachers and they're so supportive, and they become part of the fabric of your life and your defining moments as a child and as a young musician. And they deserve so much credit and so much thanks. And I was fortunate to study with a lot of amazing people when I was growing up. And I made a little list. Some of them were like for 3 weeks, and some of them were for 10 years. Monica George Punky, Jenny Gogan Proudfoot, Vesta Mosier, Donna Hargraves, Fleur Mainville, Mr. Hartland, Valerie Crichton, Wayne Rogers, the Alcorns, and all of them taught me something important. The last three, Valerie, Wayne, and the Alcorns, I mean, they were the mothership. Valerie's the reason I had piano chops, and the reason I, was in the music festival a lot. She was so supportive when that's what I wanted to do, when I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do it a lot. Wayne Rogers, first organ teacher, the Alcorns, the reason I play a pile of instruments and feel really comfortable in a lot of musical settings and jazz and all of these kind of alt settings compared to when you go to a classical school and most of the people there, they just play straight classical, and you're like, no, I get it, even if I wasn't great at jazz. But it was just a great experience that you should have when you're really young, and the festival and the musical milieu of the New Glasgow music scene just provides this expansive, wonderful foundation for young musicians. You know what high quality music is in every sense of the term music. You know what good folk music sounds like, you know what good jazz sounds like, you know what good classical sounds like, and your ear is already right there. And not only your ear, but it's there's an expectation that you know what you're doing in the background, you know the theory. And so all of this being said, I mean, you're pushing out some of the best musicians in the country at the end of the day. It's reached a place now where you go into the bigger schools and they're like, oh, you're from New Glasgow. Yeah, you'll be fine in first year theory, And that's because of the people and the volunteers and all of the organization that goes behind the festival. And the dedication of your teachers and our teachers, and so I just want to say thank you, New Glasgow music scene, New Glasgow Music Festival, and happy 80th birthday, and I can't wait to see you next time I'm home.
Hello, New Glasgow Music Festival! Yes, it all started way back when with you guys. Now, I've been living in Italy for 11 years. I've done my undergrad and master's in trumpet, and now I'm starting to get into jazz music, and life is good. Take a look. On my bicycle with my trumpet and stand. I've been up to. I have to say a huge thank you for putting that seed inside me to help grow musically. New Glasgow was really the best place, in my opinion, to grow up musically. Thanks to North Nova Education Centre, Joel Pratt with the musical theatre programme, the Alcorns, Monica Punky and the Pictou District Honor Choir, my private lessons, all of my private teachers. Once again, thank you, Andrew, Mr. Alcorn, for also making me fall in love with the trumpet. And so just a huge thank you. Kisses and hugs.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pierre Riley, and I grew up in Antigonish. For many years, from the time I was about 8 or 9 years old until I graduated from high school, I was a regular participant in the New Glasgow Music Festival, in piano, in composition, in clarinet, in voice, I think, and if my memory doesn't deceive me, at least once or twice as a member of my school's concert band. The New Glasgow Music Festival gave me many of my earliest opportunities to perform in front of an audience, and moreover to perform in front of an audience of my peers. It's impossible to overstate how valuable this is for the development of a young musician. Sitting in silence on the pews of Trinity United Church over there on Temperance Street, I made many valued and lasting friendships. I count myself as particularly fortunate also for having met during the 2003 New Glasgow Festival a man who would become a lifelong mentor and whose advice I'm extremely grateful for to this day. That man is Paul Stewart, who, as you know, is one of the festival's most distinguished alumni. After graduating from high school, I went to study with Paul Stewart at the Université de Montréal, earning first a bachelor's and then a master's in solo piano performance. There isn't a day that goes by when something doesn't remind me of the advice he imparted to me about the value of honest musicianship and effective piano technique. It's really stayed with me. I went on to further my training in London at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and now I'm speaking to you from Cambridge, where I'm writing a PhD on the history of early Bach recordings, concentrating on the keyboard works. Nevertheless, I maintain a fairly busy performing schedule, and most recently conducting concerti from the piano, premiering new chamber works in Bristol, and even for my sins, playing a bit of harpsichord, if you can believe it. This is all to say that very local experiences close to home build into much bigger things as time unfolds. And this is the reason why I'm extremely grateful for everything that I experienced through the New Glasgow Music Festival. This is why I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and my hearty congratulations to all the dedicated volunteers, the parents, the music educators, and of course the participants who make the New Glasgow Music Festival such a thriving cultural institution. I certainly hope that many, many more young Nova Scotian musicians will be shaped by these kinds of experiences. I hope you have a delightful evening celebrating all of these achievements and looking towards the future. Have a lovely evening. Thank you and good night.
Hi there, I'm Kate McLean. I'm from Alma, Nova Scotia, and I'm living and working in Toronto, Ontario as a professional musician and educator. I see on average about 50 students a week. I have a soloist/section lead job at Royal York Road United Church. My summers I spend touring. I did my first European dates last summer, and I put out my first solo album in 2015, and I'm working on pre-production for the next one. None of this would have been possible without the amazing musical upbringing I received from growing up in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. Teachers like Al Sutherland, Dave Poss, Monica George Punky, Elizabeth O'Donoghue, and Wayne Rogers, just to name a few. Institutions like the Pictou County Community Orchestra, the local musicals, rock shows at the Trenton Youth Center back in the day, the music festival, of course, the inescapable musical influence of my parents, Lloyd and Gwen. All of these combined to make it an amazing place for a young musician to grow up. When I think about experiences at the New Glasgow Music Festival, I remember my first experience with performance anxiety, sitting there in the pews just terrified. But, you know, your name's coming up in the program. The show must go on. I think about meeting other wonderful young musicians from around the county and being shushed by very patient NGMF volunteers. And I think about the time that the adjudicator suggested that the next time I go up to sing somewhere, I should really wear shoes. So I learned some professional standards from it as well. So thank you, Music Festival. Happy 80th birthday. And to everyone who makes the music community in Pictou County so wonderful, thank you for everything you do.
When invited to be part of this video vignette series, Katie Krawchuk responded immediately with a couple of clips of her singing jazz in Paris, where she's currently living and performing, and the following message.
I'm as restless as a willow in a windstorm. I'm as jumpy as a baby on a swing. I'd say that I had spring fever.
So wonderful to hear from you. I have to thank Monica George Punky, my voice teacher, for instilling in me, at a young age, a great love and respect for music of all kinds. I also thank Donna Hargreaves. She taught me piano and voice, and she suggested I see Monica, which led me into the Pictou District Honor Choir. In middle school, there was Miss Marilyn MacDonald at East Pictou, who found me a bass clarinet and encouraged me to sign up for the Honors Jazz program. Honors Jazz was great, all kinds of young people getting together and playing standards. I continued in high school, attending lots of different bands and choirs, and decided to pursue music at university. At some point, I was also a member of the Nova Scotia Youth Choir, and Monica suggested that I see Scott Jones to study music theory. This I did, and we would spend hours every week working through that giant booklet. I applied to 2 university programs and got accepted to do classical music at Mount Allison or jazz at Concordia. At the end of the day, my choice was more based on location than music style. However, for all that, I think my choice of Concordia was a great choice for me because I fell in love with the wide range of expression available in jazz, as well as in lifestyle. Although I didn't pursue becoming a classical musician, to this day I always sing in a choir, whether in Montreal, Paris, or Warsaw. Choir is also a lifestyle. My parents, as well, knew I was interested in music, and after conversing with their colleagues, the Strasfelds, they started hosting house concerts to support local touring artists. Getting to see the house lit up with music and music appreciation is also something not to be overlooked in the ways I was influenced in my commitment to music. Coming from a community that supports, respects, and reveres musicians through its teachers, programs, and the New Glasgow Music Festival helps me to this day to keep my head up and stay proud amongst a sea of self-doubting musicians. My congratulations to the Music Festival on this 80th anniversary. May your good work on behalf of young musicians carry on for many years to come.